Thank you all and goodbye. There will be no agreement between Russia and the US. The negotiations process between Russia and the US attracts everyone's attention for obvious reasons. Various informed sources are constantly commenting on the statements of Trump and members of his team, while everyone is eagerly awaiting the results of the next meeting with some new American officials. The Santa Barbara policy is an exciting and safe process because every day new and powerful news appears, while what was said yesterday ceases to matter. But today one of the hot topics is the possible visit to Moscow of President Trump's special representative, Steve Witkoff, a fact confirmed by major Western media outlets. The fact that the Russian side has not confirmed this visit does not stop anyone, because the show must go on while everyone's nerves are either tensed or relaxed, depending on the statements of Trump's golden team. For example, recently, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio left a clear hint. The U.S. hopes that it will not be necessary to strengthen sanctions. A little later, he added, the U.S. wants the Putin-Trump meeting to be positive. The public is wondering, are these threats or rewards? But the propaganda train is already moving further. The statements of the Americans about the complete cessation of military supplies to Ukraine, as well as the cessation of the provision of information to the Ukrainian authorities, have caused embarrassment among leading military analysts. However, immediately after, opposite messages came. The United States immediately cancels the pause in information exchange and restores security assistance to Ukraine. In fact, with or without a pause, the armed forces of Ukraine have sufficient supplies of weapons and equipment for a long time, while the Europeans are stepping up to production at their military factories. The narrative of the interpretation of military supplies is simply a pressure strategy towards Ukraine. As for the information that the Americans allegedly blocked, the reality is more complicated. Even before the results of the U.S.-Ukrainian negotiations were announced, CNN reported that the U.S. is still sharing information with Ukraine that can help its units defend themselves, but has reduced the flow of information that could be used in offensive operations. Today, the cycle officially begins again. The rhetoric of new friends and partners is a fascinating genre with abrupt plot twists, but we need to explain some aspects of its actual structure. Donald Trump himself has revealed much about his strategy in interviews and books. He only makes deals with a leader because when other little people get in the way, the deal is never as good as if you made it directly. Trump's negotiations and deals always follow the same basic rules, which he makes no secret of. Choose an opponent with few or no alternatives, undermine the opponent's existing options, hit their hidden weaknesses, use generosity as leverage, use threats and imminent punishment, act as hard as possible so that everyone is afraid, create uncertainty, exercise maximum pressure, offer only two options, one advantageous for you and one disastrous for your opponent. Trump's track record is full of examples of this approach. He bought the famous Mar-a-Lago estate for $8 million when it was actually worth $25 million, pressuring the owners for 3 years and threatening to block the ocean view. He bought a luxury Boeing from Diamond Shamrock for $8 million instead of $18 million, knowing their financial difficulties. He acquired a skyscraper on Wall Street by offering $1 million in cash and taking on a $100 million debt on the condition that the deal be closed here and now. And this is why we hear Trump say, we are seriously considering banking, tariff, and other sanctions against Russia. But also, we have very good relations with Putin. These are statements for Twitter, which may influence Zelensky or analysts, but the reality is shaped by the soldiers on the front. Yesterday, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, many are in a hurry to put on rose-colored glasses, saying that Americans will stop arms supplies or that Musk will disconnect his systems, and then everything will be fine for Russia. But Russia will win regardless of U.S. sanctions, he said. And this means that there will be no deals with, quote-unquote, groups, representatives, or envoys. A possible deal can only be made between Putin and Trump, and its terms were set by the Russian president on June 4, 2024, in his speech to the Russian Foreign Ministry. No negotiation tactics of New York businessmen of the 1970s will change it. This is by Kirill Stelnikov. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.